What's up, everybody? Welcome back. John Levesque here. I am back today with another DocuSign tutorial. Today, I'm going to take a bit of a break from my DocuSign 101 series. I'll be back with that next week because I have a special guest joining us who's going to show us something new and cool and something that actually helps me out. I had a customer reach out to me and say, John, I own a little legal firm and we need ideas on how we can use Power Automate and DocuSign together because we have both. So I'm not going to go on any further. I'm going to go ahead and bring on our special guest, Vivek, that API guy. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good, John. How are you?
I'm doing really good. The summer is slowly returning to the Pacific Northwest. I've gotten out on the boat and on the paddle boards and on the water a couple times. It's still kind of cold, but to be on the water is okay. I'm waiting to get in the water.
Oh, yeah.
How's things for you?
It's actually, summer is approaching here as well. In fact, I have taken already the first dip in the swimming pool this time. So,
Okay.
The last weekend was amazing. And this weekend is going to be much more amazing.
Oh, I'm jealous now. You're swimming already. Okay, nice. Well, Vivek, you are the API guy, and we're going to talk a little bit about the DocuSign API today. We're going to talk about the DocuSign connector, but why don't you take a second before we jump into what we're going to show and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Sure. We have only one slide because I hate slides.
Perfect.
So this is the only slide that talks about me. So I've been a business application MVP for 2 years now. I work as a senior consultant at Hitachi Solutions. I started that around a few months ago.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that quite
MVP
a bit.
Army.
Yeah. It's a lot of amazing people there, and it's a great community within our organization.
Totally.
So we have that community. Plus, I've been a part of the Power Addicts community, and it's been almost 3 years, probably even more than that. So
only like official for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, but you guys have been Power Addicts since day one. It's been a long time. Awesome. And I'm going to shout it out for him. He's got a great YouTube channel and a great blog. So make sure to go get subscribed. I got all his links down in the description. Go check those out and follow his stuff as a thanks for him being here and showing you this cool new stuff you can do.
Yep. So that's a lot about me. So let's switch on to the DocuSign, the whole process that we're going to build today.
Okay.
So before I start, let me just talk about what are we going to build, right? So we're going to first build a template in DocuSign. So we'll use a form. We'll upload a PDF. And as John mentioned, we want to use a form on our website. So we'll build that as well using Microsoft Forms. So a client can go to the website, fill out a form, fill that details and submit it. So once the details are submitted, the flow will capture that details and use that details, fill out that template that we create in DocuSign. It will first send it to the lawyer. So let's say I'm a legal firm, so it will first send it to a lawyer within my firm where I can enter some details in, type in my retainer, how much I'm going to charge for this service, sign it, and send it back to the client. Nice. And the client can then sign it again, and so that they are basically authorizing. So a form on a website is great, but you cannot get the sign from them, right? So to make it official, you're going to use DocuSign so that a client can actually sign that and send it back to us.
Perfect. So okay, cool.
That's the whole process.
Awesome.
Let's jump on to the first step. That is the legal services form.
All right.
So this was the form that we took from a website. Just a template form where it's a PDF form where client and the lawyer can both sign and enter some details in. So we took that form. We created a template. By the way, you can sign up for a trial of DocuSign and create this template yourself. So if you want to try it out for 30 days, you can do that. And then if you want to sign up for the service, you can sign up for that after that.
Check the description. I got a link down there for you to get a free developer account where you can do all of this.
Yep. So we uploaded the document, the PDF here. Then we added two recipients, right? So our first recipient is the lawyer, and this is the signing order. We want to send it first to the lawyer who needs to sign and enter some details in. And then we also need to send it to the client after that, who needs to then authorize, okay, I'm good with this retainer, I'm signing it, and you're good to go ahead then. So
Awesome.
those are the two roles. Now we want to specify what each of the roles needs to do. So
Okay.
we'll come to these two fields. These are the pre-filled autofills. We'll come to that in a bit.
Okay.
But let's look at the two fields that the lawyer has to enter. So the first field, we're not going through all the fields here. We're just, to keep it simple, we just added one text field, which is this. And you can see here it says on the top left, this is the lawyer role.
Yep.
So I can switch between the roles and define what each of the role or the person in that role has to do, right? So in this case, we are specifying this, which is the retainer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is here. So the sign.
Yep.
So this is the sign that the lawyer needs to do. And then this is date sign automatically gets filled in, so they don't need to enter that. So that's the lawyer stuff. And then if you switch to client, you can see it right here.
Yep.
Basically, there's the sign. They don't need to enter anything else. They just need to sign it, and they need to just look at the document and make sure that everything's right, and then sign it.
Yeah. Keeping it simple here. If you were really creating this document, obviously you would create every field, but this is really just to kind of give you an idea of what's possible and how you can take this to the next level.
So here, all we have defined now is kind of inputs, right? They are signing it, they are entering, like the lawyer is entering some special provisions here, the retainer amount here.
Yep.
But apart from that, we want to fill in, okay, you, that is the client. So we want to fill in the client name here. And what is the request, right? What is the service that they're needing? So they describe that on the form. So we want to autofill these. And to do that, we are not going to, I'll come back to this later when we are creating the API call. But for now, we're just adding two text fields, and we added in lawyer, but it could be any. You can choose lawyer or client, doesn't matter. It's going to be auto-filled, and it's going to be a read-only field. So it will show up both to the lawyer and the client. They don't need to enter it. Okay. So we have added these two fields, which one is we are mentioning the data label as client name, and this one, the data label is matter. So remember these two things, because we are going to autofill these when we send a request to the DocuSign API.
Yeah. So what he's doing here is basically setting up this form so that way we don't have to ask the person for the same information twice, right? They came to our website, they requested service with us, they gave us their name, they gave us the matter, and so now we want to just go ahead and move that data into this without requesting it twice. You know how annoying it is to be asked for the same information twice, right? You want to avoid that.
Okay, so now that we have this template defined, what we did was we used Microsoft Forms to create this form where it asks this details like name, the matter that they want the legal service for, date of incident, email address, phone number, all these fields.
Yep.
But yeah, if you need to ask more, you can add more fields. You can use any service. Forms is a service that I had easy access to. So I use that, but you might be using some different service on your website to insert forms.
Google Forms, Cognito Forms, Form 7 Pro, I think. There's a million different solutions, all kind of the same thing.
Yep. So I took this form and I used, just so that I can show you how it looks on a website, right? Because you can embed these forms on a website.
Nice.
This is on my website, although I'm not a lawyer. Added this form. You can see this here. And when we test it, we'll send the details in here and submit it.
Okay.
So we have covered the DocuSign part, we have covered the website part. Now we need to automate this, right? So to do that, we're gonna call the DocuSign API and send some data to it. So here, let's see. So instead of creating the API call directly and using basic authentication, which uses username and password, we're going to use OAuth 2, and that's why we're going to use a custom connector.
My team is going to be very happy about this, that we're not showing legacy auth, that we are doing OAuth 2 today. So shout out to you guys for if you're watching.
Yep. Yeah, it's much more. I mean, it uses your client ID, client secret. You're not using username password. So OAuth 2 is a standard throughout. So it makes more sense to use it.
Much better way.
All right. So yeah, the custom connector, if you haven't created this before, I'll go through it quickly. But if you haven't watched, we have made a video before this on how to create a custom connector. So
yeah, I'll link that too.
Yep. So you can watch that.
Cool.
So yeah, basic details. The host here is demo because I'm using a demo account. So demo.docusign.net. And the base URL, right now the version is 2.1. So this is how we are defining the base URL. And then now we'll go to the security portion of it, which is the main part. So here you'll have to specify your client ID, client secret, the authorization URL. This, again, you can get it. I mean, this is going to be the same for everyone. So you can use this. Should be available on the API reference on DocuSign. And token URL is basically this, end with token. Refresh URL is the same as token URL. Scope, in this case, because we are using the eSignature API, REST API, the scope for that, I think it's written somewhere. It's there somewhere here.
That's a great shout out. No, that's a fantastic shout out. I think a lot of people, even myself, when I first started, I used the wrong verbiage and I said the DocuSign API. There's lots of APIs, and so eSign just being one of those. So I appreciate that call out.
Yeah. So that's I think there was So there is a place where you can see all the list of authentication scopes. But for eSignature, it's the scope is called signature, so we'll use that.
Great.
Now the client ID and client secret, if you don't know where to grab these, we'll quickly show you. I'm gonna go. Okay, it generally logs me out, so I'm gonna try logging in again. But you have to log into your developer account and go to the apps and keys. So I'm logged in now. I will go to my apps and keys. Okay. So we have the account ID here. We have the user ID, but what we need is the integration, basically a key and a secret. So the first time when you create this account, you won't see anything in here. It will just be blank. So you'll have to click on add app and integration key. In this case, I've already added. So I'm going to click on edit. Now, in my case, I have already created a secret key, but because I actually clicked on edit here, I have to add it again. And to do that, I'm going to create a new one and just copy this. Even if it's there, I'm going to delete it, so none of you are going to be able to use it. So
yeah,
I'll just paste that client secret. My integration key is the client ID. So if you are confused on that, it's just the way it is. For DocuSign, you have to use your integration key as the client ID. So once I have that, I mean, basically when you create it for the first time, it will tell you to create connector instead of update connector. So I'm going to click on that. That's going to save the custom connector. All right, so the custom connector has been updated. Now we are going to use the definition, the final thing that we need to use, right? We basically need to create an envelope which uses that template. And envelope in this case basically means you are trying to send that document using the template that you have already created.
Yep.
So I've added an action, which is basically create envelope. We can add multiple actions in here. So once you have this custom connector created, you can go in and add as many actions as you want. For this use case, we just need the create envelope. Now, the create envelope action, if you want to look at the reference for it, you go to eSignature API, concepts, envelopes. I think it's actually, sorry, missed it out a bit. So you have to go to the eSignature API reference, go to envelopes, and it should be under envelopes, create.
Nice.
Okay. So this is where you know how to create an envelope. So you know your endpoint for that.
Awesome.
Now that's not going to be sufficient for creating the envelope using templates, right? So there is an option to look at how to create using templates. And to do that, it tells you, okay, if you want to send it from a template, this is the thing that you need to send. So you're going to go back to the custom connector. I've added the request already. So let me show it to you again. So I'm going to copy the same URL because we're going to define the body as well. I'm going to say post. This is my endpoint. Now the body is basically the meat of this request, right? Because we are going to specify a bunch of things in here. So I've created that already. So I'm going to copy that, paste it. So the first thing we're sending is the account ID. So you need that for each of your requests.
Yep.
And it's kind of, you have to specify it in the URL and in the body. I haven't tried it without specifying it. Maybe it works, but for this, I'm just going to use it.
Okay.
Then email subject, again, not required, but you can specify it because you've already specified the email subject in your template in the previous step here.
Got it.
So yeah, we have already specified it here, so we don't need to do it again.
Okay.
The next thing is the template ID. Now, template ID, you can get it through an API, like endpoint, like get templates. But because I didn't want to spend that time getting that, I just open the template.
You're going to use that template again and again, right? So you just grab that one.
So it's in the URL. Also, it's at a bunch of places. You will know how to get to that. But it's in the URL. You can grab it from there. And I pasted it. Now the next part is the template roles. So the first role is lawyer. I'm specifying the name, so that's me. Email, so this will be the client. So we'll grab this from the form, but in this case, we're going to test it. We'll send it using just the custom connector. So we have the client name. This is where, okay. So I'm specifying the role, email, and I have to specify these things as tabs. So this is how you specify your pre-filled fields, I guess. Yeah.
The tabs.
Tabs. So you specified in to a tabs kind of record, I would say.
Yep.
Property, and then you within tabs there are different types of tabs. So you can have text tabs, checkbox tabs, all this kind of things, right? So we are just using text, so we are saying text tabs, and then you have an array of it. So we have two things, if you remember.
Yep. The client name and then the matter.
The client name and the matter.
Nice.
So
I remembered. You told me to remember from earlier. I did.
Client name. So we specify we have to specify it by the tab label. The tab label is client name. and the value. So value instead of test, we can call it Rishi. Then the matter, we're gonna just say this is an urgent, I don't know, request. And for some reason it says, I don't know why. So I guess I had a comma missing or something, so I added that and it worked fine. So you can add your body as I defined, as I showed you earlier, and that would help you to define the roles and the labels or the text that you need to pre-fill.
Yeah. So I think the big thing to call out here, right, is that there's what's provided on the Dev Center gives you a base structure. Vivek had to add in those labels, right, the client name and the matter, and so that's why we called that all out and went through that, so you could see kind of what those additional pieces are that needed to be added to that piece of JSON, so that you could facilitate what's set to happen.
Yep. So now that we have that action created, we can test it. So I think I already was testing here. So what we'll do is we'll create a new one. So I'm going to copy that same thing. So copy that, paste it. So we're using client name as me, or the lawyer as me, and the client as John. So I think I should change this to John. All right, so I'm gonna click on test operation. It worked fine. It says, okay, this is the envelope ID. So if you need to use this in a further action or something, you can use that.
Nice.
So now we're gonna check our email. So I was the lawyer, as I told you. So this was the recent one. We have been doing some tests. So I'm gonna click on review document. So I got the email, and this shows me, okay, I need to start looking at this, reviewing it. So if you see here, it filled it out, right?
Nice.
It shows the name, it shows the matter, and now I can click on start, and it tells me, okay, I need to fill this in. So John, I'm going to charge you 10,000 as a
10,000. Man, your legal services are not cheap. Dang.
I'm just going by what I hear on like movies and stuff, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Anyways, so no special provisions. I'm just gonna.
All right. Well, that's good.
Sign it here.
Don't have to sign over my child or give you blood or anything. That's good.
Yeah. So I've signed this.
Cool.
It already has the date, so I'm gonna click on finish.
All right.
And this now should I can save it, but I'm gonna say no thanks.
Oh, I just got an email.
There you go.
Now let's go ahead and switch over here and check me out. So here it is. You sent me a document. I'm gonna open this up and check it out, and probably here I agree. Yep, I'm gonna let them know my location. I agree to use electronic. Yes. Between me, I do have an urgent request here. I see. Let's see. I click start. Oh wait, but it takes me down to my signature. I got to come look at the number here, right? I want to see what the figure is.
10,000.
There
Sign
it is.
It, John. Come on.
10,000. I don't know. Like this feels wrong. I don't know if I want to sign this one. All right. Well, since it's a demo, I'm going to go ahead and also sign it, and I'll click adopt and sign and then finish. And then I always recommend that you go ahead and click log in to save your documents. I think I have my information saved. No, it was wrong. So let's see here. Even though it's a demo, it's a good practice when you're doing this in real life to go ahead and sign in and to make sure that your documents get saved. So,
yeah. So now we can switch back to mine and see that, okay, yeah, John did sign this. So I can always see the events that were happening. So it says John Levesque viewed it. So I know, okay, he opened the email. He opened the document. So he's looking at it. And then it sends me, okay, he has completed it. And I can now click on view completed document, or I have a PDF right here.
Nice.
So you can see the PDF has been signed by John.
So Vivek, this was like a cool lesson in DocuSign, right? I love how everything we've seen here so far, right? Like the custom signing order, the pre-filled fields, like using the API and the custom connector, but like now how do we make this dynamic?
Yes. Yep. So yeah, I mean, as you said, this was cool to learn how we went through the whole process. So this kind of establishes how do you even use DocuSign, right, for such things.
Totally.
So now let's go and build our flow.
Okay.
So the flow, we're going to start it from the form, right? Because we're going to submit the form. That's our trigger when a form is submitted.
Okay.
We're going to click on forms. When a new response is submitted, it's going to try connecting and creating the connection.
It's going to do it. I believe in it. There it goes.
Yep. And a bunch of forms. I should have the legal request one. Legal service request.
There it is.
And I think that's it to this. Now, I don't know yet if that, I know this was always an ask that, okay, why does the trigger not have the response?
Right.
So it doesn't for now.
Still doesn't. It's been
years. We're going to use an action instead. The Microsoft form action to get the response details. So the trigger just gives you the response ID. We need the response details. So the unique identifier of the form, again, we could use it from this, but I know in this case it's a legal service request. We'll just use that and the response ID. So
there you go.
It comes from this trigger. We insert that. And the next step now is to use a custom connector. So we have all the form details, which we'll get from here.
Mm-hmm.
But now we want to call our API. I have a bunch of custom connectors because I like playing with APIs.
I was going to say, look at that collection, man.
So we have the DocuSign Plus, create envelope.
Nice.
And we're going to click on sign in. I know it's not going to show you because I'm sharing my window, but it will ask you to sign in to your DocuSign demo account.
Yep.
And now it asks me all these details. So you see here, it looks similar to like some other, if you have worked on Dataverse or something, you can see there's array or SharePoint actions. They look similar to this, right?
Yep.
So account ID. Technically, I would recommend to use something like an Azure Key Vault, something to save your credentials, and then use the Azure Key Vault as an action to get that. But for this demo, we're just going to paste it directly.
Okay.
I already have that account ID, so I'm going to paste that in my flow. Account ID asks both in the endpoint and in the body. So,
okay.
Specify this is a test request. Template ID, again, you're going to use it right from the DocuSign. Oops, here. So you can use this template ID. Again, as I mentioned, you can create another action to get all the templates and then use that template ID of a specific template if you want. Now, template roles, this is an array, right? So we're gonna, and there is like a nested array here. So the first one is the lawyer role. Name is, okay, why am I typing this out?
Right.
Actually, lawyer name is gonna be,
lawyer's gonna be hard-coded.
Yeah. Now, you might have it saved in a SharePoint list or something in your tenant, so you could use something like that if you want to route it to a specific lawyer based on a specific service. You could use a conditional logic. You could ask that service type in your form, and based on the service type, it can route it to different lawyers. Nice. So you can do something like that if you want to. But in this case, we're just going to hard code it. So this is our tab labels and the value. So it's an array again, right? So for this lawyer, I mean, it doesn't matter where we specify. So we're just going to specify it in the lawyer role. So we're going to call it client name. And in this, you're going to get it from the form. So this is the name. And then I'm going to click on add new item. This is still under that tabs. So I'm going to say this is matter. And I'm going to specify that from this value. What is the matter you require legal service for?
Nice.
So we have specified the first role. We're going to specify the next role. That is the client. The name is again from here. The form and the email as well is something that we can get from the form.
Mm-hmm.
So your email address. Now in this case, you don't need to specify these because you have already specified it once.
Okay.
You should be good here.
Nice.
And status, I think there's 2 types. I think we'll just call it send.
All right.
All right. So we have done the major portion of this. So we're gonna save this.
Now, if you were doing this in real life, you'd probably also take this person's details and add them to a system of record. You would do a whole slew of other things. But the beautiful thing here is really this is the starting point, right? This is the top of the funnel where you get to create an automation that takes a whole workflow process away. Imagine not having to send the same form out 100 times a week. Imagine not having to do those same back and forth because you collect all the details you need in the first shot, right? This is really the opportunity where you get to create an entirely new process. And so, think about what would come beyond this, but also I think the main point we're trying to get across here is like, a creative spot to jump in with what's possible.
Yep. So yeah, as John said, I mean, it's a great way to start your process. And as we have already completed the flow here, we can try at least the part of the process now. So
cool. All right.
Yeah, this is the form on the website. So I'm gonna impersonate John here. Sorry, John.
It's all right.
So we're gonna take that name.
So the matter. Ooh, what's my matter?
You want to get creative here?
Yeah, I mean, did I get in a car accident? What do I need legal help for? I got something, right? A piano fell on my foot. I don't know. Something happened.
I pushed out a piano from my window.
There you go.
And it fell on a
guy.
Oh
man. All right. No wonder you wanted such a big retainer.
Right? All right. So gonna use John's email address here. John, did I type it right? I think so.
You did, yeah. Feel free to email me, anybody. I'm always happy to take questions.
999.
Yeah, there you go.
9.
Perfect.
And the moment of truth, submit. So we can see if the form does run. Sometimes it takes. Oh, I hear a ping on my email.
All right.
So it's already run.
We see it succeeded.
Let's look at the run. If it's gone fine. Okay. It's run fine. And now we'll see our email. So now you can see this new service request.
Okay.
I click on review document. Again, the moment of truth. If the values got passed through. There you go.
Boom.
The piano fell on the car.
Awesome.
Okay, John.
Very cool.
I'm gonna probably 10,000 does make sense for this.
It does. I understand now.
Sign. Finish. I don't know if you want to do it again, but basically, it's gonna run that same process.
It just hit my email. You'd see me do the same thing again. I'd go through my side of things. I'd log in and save a copy. DocuSign orchestrating all of this behind the scenes for us, but Flow helping to pass those predetermined values from the form. And so you could see very quickly here how you could take any form solution, grab the data that's input there, and then very quickly move it into a template so that you can minimize the back and forth, right? You don't need to ask someone these questions. You can you can just gather that data right up front and then move it into your system of record or the template that you needed. And it makes it so much simpler.
I just wanted to add one thing. So if you use another form service which doesn't have a connector, right? In Flow, you're like, you just did it for forms. We don't want to use forms.
Yep.
We want to use something that we, generally are using. So the way to do that would be to use webhooks. Every form service will have a way to send, if you are using a premium, if you're using it for enterprise, you are going to use a premium version of it.
Yep.
And you will have an option to send form submissions to a webhook. And if you are using that, you can use the HTTP trigger. So when an HTTP request is received, and when I kind of save it, it will create a URL. This is the URL that you will paste it in your services webhook. So every time a form is submitted, there will be an option to add a webhook there. So it will send that form data to this URL. And then you can use that. It will send the details in a JSON. You can parse that JSON and then create the envelope. So I just wanted to throw it out there so that if it's a custom thing that you're using, some form service, you can use this as a trigger instead of forms.
There's how you go and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Man, this has been great. Vivek, thank you so much, man, for putting this together, for showing us how it's done, for walking us through each stage of it. Really, really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Yeah. We spent some time just understanding how this works. So yeah, we spent our time on analyzing the use case. We had some help from John, the DocuSign developer team as well, right?
Yeah, so a big shout out to Nima on my team. We were not sure how to get the pre-filled fields to pass through. He's the one that showed us the anchor text and how to put that in place and how to utilize those fields to pass the data through. So Nima, huge shout out to you for turning that around in quick time and helping us save the demo.
Yeah, so yeah, all in all, I think it's a great demo. I might just steal it and keep it to show to some of our clients as well.
Awesome.
To see
awesome.
how this works, right?
Very cool. Well, hey, everybody, you know what to do. Go get down in the description. There'll be a link to the video on how to get a free DocuSign account so you can do this. There'll be a link to how to create a custom connector so that you can follow this process through from the very start to finish with a different API. And then also make sure and follow Vivek. His YouTube, his blog, his Twitter's all down there. Go get connected with him so that you can stay connected with all the awesome things he's doing all the time. One more time for me, Vivek, really appreciate you being here, bro.
Yeah, it was fun. This was something new, and it's nice to be still doing videos with you even after we moved to DocuSign.
Yes. I know. I love it. And it's just, big shout out to you, man, like for just coming along on the journey. It means the world to me, that the community is still the community, regardless of what hat or name badge I might have on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys at home, click that like button, click that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that bell so that you don't miss another video. That's it from me. Much love. I'll see you in the next one.